The most horrifying experience I've ever had was during one of my numerous skate sessions. Before this happened, I went out on my skateboard almost every single night. I would pass the same empty streets, quiet houses, and rusty old stop signs. However, this night was different. For one thing, I was messing around on my phone while riding on my board. This resulted in me not paying any attention to my surroundings. I figured I had been through these neighborhoods enough to know where to turn using my peripheral vision. I couldn't have been more wrong. It took me way too long to realize I was lost. Not in the way where you have some idea where you're at either. I mean, completely in unfamiliar territory. I found myself at the end of a block, lit only by a single eerie streetlight. As far as I could see, the houses in this area were all without any sign of life. No lights on, and not even the faintest of sounds. I stopped riding for a minute and looked all around me. I don't know if it was the fact that I couldn't recognize anything or the lack of light, but the environment around me suddenly felt otherworldly. My fascination was quickly interrupted by the single streetlight abruptly going out. Now I was staring into what felt like a black void. I tensed up, and for the first time in a long time, felt like I might be in some kind of danger. That's when I realized I could just easily GPS my way out of this. I reached into my pocket to grab my phone, but in my anxiousness, I dropped it and watched it break into what looked like a million different pieces. Great, I thought. I knew I should have replaced that worn-out case. I leaned over to pick it up, but stopped when I swear I heard the sound of soft footsteps. I couldn't see more than a few feet in front of me, so I had the bright idea of calling out, "Is someone there?" The next thing I heard sent chills down the back of my spine. My voice echoed and seemed to come right back at me, except it didn't sound like me at all. I froze right where I was. There was no way that the voice I just heard was my own. Forget the phone, I thought. It's broken beyond repair. I had to start walking away right at that moment. I didn't get more than a few steps in before stopping once again. I caught a glimpse of a shadow out of the corner of my eye. Please let it be a cat. I slowly turned my head and saw who the shadow belonged to. A little girl who had to be no older than 10 years old, just standing there in the middle of the street all by herself. All of this was made even more creepy by the fact that it was so late at night. This did not look or feel right. She looked down at the ground. It was like she was having a staring contest with the street below her. She did not break concentration. For the life of me, I could not figure out how this little girl just appeared out of nowhere. Only a few seconds ago, I was positive that the only person on this street was me. And as scared as I was, I couldn't help but feel a bit concerned for this girl. Surely she had to be lost, right? "Hey there," I said. "Do you know where you are?" I realized now that was kind of a dumb question to ask, but they were the first words that came to mind. She remained right where she was, almost motionless. "Did you need any help getting back to your parents? They're probably worried you're out right now." Almost 10 seconds went by until she finally shook her head no, and slowly looked up at me. The lack of an audible response, combined with the look of fear in her eyes, told me that something was very wrong. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I was just skating and got lost in your neighborhood." She didn't say anything. She only looked at me with a burning stare that I can still picture so clearly. She started to slowly back away from me, even though we were already standing a considerable distance from each other. She kept moving until she was completely out of my sight. I didn't have much time to process what had just happened, because the sound of a car driving nearby caused me to turn around. I looked to see that it was slowly approaching where I was standing. Oh great, now I'm going to get kidnapped. The car came to a stop, and out came a man, probably in his 50s. At that point, I had enough for one night, so I decided to make a run for it. He called out for me to stop before I could even make it past his car. And just like all of the other stupid decisions I made that night, I actually listened to him. I said, "What do you want? I don't have anything on me. I'm just trying to pass through on my board." The man said, "Forgive me, but I thought you were vandalizing that wall over there. Kids have been coming around here late at night to do that." I was very confused. "No, I'm not doing any of that." I got lost on my way back home and ended up in this neighborhood. Wait, what wall are you even talking about? He pointed to a wall that was now lit up by the headlights of his car. That's when the hair stood straight up on the back of my neck. A makeshift memorial had been put together and was decorated with cards, pictures, flowers, and balloons. I walked closer to make sure I was seeing this correctly. Each picture was of the little girl I had seen only 1 minute earlier. I lost her to a drunk driver, the man said. I just wish I could see her one more time.